one thing that has been deeply fascinating me, I don't know about you, Rabbi Yuter, but I'm sure some people out there are also curious about this. If they escaped, I don't know how much time they had to gather their things and then flee from their house. And I don't know if they brought wagons, if they had donkeys, how much stuff they could, put with them in addition to whatever they could carry on their backs. But they had to carry food, probably some clothing, maybe some other personal items. But to carry the amount of jugs of wine necessary to get their father totally smashed, not once, but at least two nights in a row, that's a serious degree of wine. So,
or Lot was a lightweight.
Oh, very, very good. He very well could have been a lightweight. That is true. I don't remember if I discussed this in the episodes with Aaron Roland and Rabbi Aaron London, but I'm so deeply fascinated. But I'm not the only one. Thank God the rabbis were also curious. Wait a second, did they really bring this much wine? And I think the rabbis understand that it's possible they could have brought enough wine for the first night, perhaps, of getting their father incredibly drunk. But 2 nights, that's a really significant and serious degree of wine. I think for anybody, that's a lot of wine. Thinking of where could this have come from, and we get not one but 2 possibilities from the midrash, which I think are interesting. The first one is that the midrash presents the possibility of people storing their surplus wine in these caves. The caves were a good place for storage, especially if maybe you didn't have room in your house, and also as well as, and this is no secret, but caves offering a better environment, a better temperature for storage of really anything, but especially wine. And so what the Midrash Rabbah posits here is that basically they're like, oh, great, there's a bunch of wine here, we're set. There's more than we can ask for, right?
It's also, very possible. They, just happened to come across a storage, or perhaps they were looking for one too. Meaning you think the world is destroyed, you think caves are a good, repository or safe. Stands to reason, Stowe might have been destroyed, but the caves might have been maintained from, fire and brimstone raining down from heavens. Caves are going to be protected. It's possible that they specifically looked for caves that already had resources in there, figured we're just going to help ourselves to them. You could argue that even for 2 reasons. One, based on all of the other midrashim about Stone, they weren't that, careful about theft or personal property. The Gemara goes into much greater detail about just how corrupt they were.
Although
it could be one, they just didn't feel too badly about taking someone else's stuff. And, they could have also reasonably assumed, well, if the world is destroyed, it's not like they're going to be needing it anymore, are they?
Right. They're already dead.
They're already dead.
No one can lay claim to these jugs of wine anymore.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not really theft. They're already dead.
Yeah. Score.
Yeah.
They're not coming back for it.
Yeah, but I do like your point about them looking for caves that might have been more, not just suitable for habitation, but things that clearly had been sort of domesticated in some ways. As opposed to just sort of more of a feral cave, but something that clearly there looked to be, someone else had found it to be suitable for storage of human, items. I like that observation. So the other possibility that the Midrash posits is, it's actually, I think we have a name on this one. It's Rabbi Yehuda Bar Simon. He says it's kind of like a microcosm of the world to come that happened and sort of as wine, just as in the book of Joel, chapter 4, verse 18, that wine drips from mountains. So this is a similar instance, that it wasn't that wine was stored there, is that wine was actually dripping down from the mountains, and that somehow they were able to, I don't know, collect this wine dripping down in the mountain for their own consumption.
So it could have already been there.
What?
So when it says like the wine coming down, you can look at it 2 ways. Either one, sort of a miraculous thing that you had these plants that dripped wine, or maybe they just happened to plop down by a vineyard and similarly just maybe made their own too and have it take a little bit longer. Either way.
It's an interesting comparison with Noah, that they decided to plant a vineyard as opposed to bringing already prepared wine with them or having it there for their consumption.
But so it's an interesting thing though, where it says here, "Nasem lahem me'ein dugma shel olam haba," that it's like some image or analogy or example from the world to come. It's especially interesting when you see what happens with that wine afterwards.